Hi guys. Well, guys, hope you're all doing, hope you're all well, hope you're all blessed. I don't know where it went wrong there, but just the computer crashed. I'm quite gutted because I wanted to hear Bobby's life and his story of his life, But it's just I don't know what happened, man. It just crashed. Anyway, it's my first live. It's not been for a while. I've not been live for a while, But I'm going to get it sorted, and I'm going to get back in touch with Bobby. I think he just tried to phone me there, and try and get on the live. But can you hear me all right? You know what I mean?
So Declan says free.
As I say, it was what. Can you hear me? Because I couldn't hear him. You know what I mean? That's how then the next minute it just crashed. You know what I mean? So if any's might give a wee shout on the hingway and let me know. You know what I'm talking about? If you can hear me or no. So I'm quite gutted with that one. I wanted to hear Bobby's life story there, but for some reason I don't know. I just couldn't hear him. Then the next minute the signal was just lost. Can you hear me, mate? Right, I'm going to try and get Bobby back in. If you're watching Bobby, I'm going to put a link out, mate, and try and get you back in. I don't know what happened there, man. Pardon me. As I say, you hear me? Yeah, I'm going to try and get the link back in, Bobby, because as I say, I don't know what's happened. It just crashed and I couldn't hear you. You know what I mean? Let me try and get you back in, mate, right? Yeah, get it back in. If I can't get it back in, mate, we're going to need to reschedule. You know what I mean? And get you back on tomorrow night if that's all right, you, Bobby. You know what I mean? So as I say, I do want to hear your life story and hear what it's all about. I'm just trying to get the link up my now, man. You know what I mean? And as I say, because I've been telling people about your recovery and how you've been sober for the last 10 months now. You know what I mean? And it's fascinating. I just came across Bobby. But that's what I'm saying, Sean. I couldn't hear Bobby. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't hear him. And for some reason, I couldn't hear Bobby. Then the next minute, it just crashed. But I don't know what's going on. So, 10 months, Bobby. That's right, mate. That's right. But I'm not wanting to give too much away now, Bobby, because you know what I mean? Because it's a good podcast and it's a good story, your story. You know what I mean? And I want to get it out there. And I want to get people back in, real and from the streets. You know, this gangster push and what we see on the YouTube and all that in the past and what's going on now. You know what I mean? Get people away, real life stories with addiction and how they came above their addiction to get into recovery and get there. And I've seen with many people, unfortunately, the people on YouTube now is just it's a shit show, you know what I mean? But as I say, it's time to get some local lads in and get them on the channel and promoting their message and promoting their recovery. And as I say, Bobby is one of the ones I want today. As I say, if you see the guy now compared to 2 years ago, no offence, Bobby, but when he was doing 3D Fight Club and stuff like that, the man's on top now, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to give too much away, but he's got a lot in life from the new, and it'd be a shame not to hear it. So as I say, I'm going to get this link up to Bobby and get him back on, and let you hear a wee bit about it. But it's getting, what time is it now? 28, you know what I mean? So give me a minute. And as I say, Bobby, if I get the link back up, I don't know if it's not letting me put the link up, man. You know what I mean? 2 seconds, guys, 2 seconds. Oh, is that it there? Aye. Right, there's the link there, Bobby. There you are, mate. That's the link there, I think. Click on that, get into the studio, and if we can't get it this time, we'll get it tomorrow night, 100%. Bobby K on Carson TV. Aye. Bobby, if you want to click on that, bro, and I'm just trying to get him on the new head. We're just some problems with the signal and stuff like that. But as I say, 2 seconds. What's going on here? Right. Right. 2 seconds. If you give it a minute, I'll get you on the new, because somebody just came in here who's better than me. You know, talk about at doing this. So if you give me a minute, I'll be able to get it sorted. But aye, as I say, Bobby's story is just fantastic, you know what I mean? Kirsty, can you get this link for me?
Oh,
The computer.
to get these wet clothes off.
The computer crashed in. I couldn't hear Bobby, eh?
Oh,
So,
it's on.
nah.
Right, so what do you need?
Apparently I was going to put the link up. I just need you to put the link in so Bobby can... What do you call it? So, I just need you to put the link up so Bobby can click on it and come in. As I say, it's... The two of us were talking and it crashed and I couldn't really fit it.
Oh, I'm upside down, Darren. Right. That's there. Then we go to copy. Copy. Come here.
I'm saying, man,
Is that in that wee box?
No.
Right, that's at the bottom.
Aye.
Is there a link in there now?
Aye.
That should be it now.
Right, that should be it now, Bobby. If you want to click into it, as I say, you'll get us and we'll get going, buddy. I saw it's a bit late, guys, but just a bit technical difficulties, and my wee boys just turned and tell me
What?
the signal's lacking. So there we are.
Oh, look, he says that about everyone. The website is that he's seen Santa.
Oh, did you see Santa?
Yes, I've got his pictures taken Santa. So.
Right, Bob, that's the link there for you, mate. So, as I say, I'm not going to give too much about Bobby's recovery. If we get him back on, if he presses the link and he comes back in, then we'll get to hear the story. And unfortunately, the internet's been lacking. Signal's quite crap. The rain is pelting down. So,
it is chucking it down.
What we'll do, in fact, we'll just leave it for tomorrow night. And we'll get him on tomorrow night. And Bobby's all right with you, mate? Because he's no clicked on the link, and I'm not going to keep him because I know that a thing is going on in his life now that he needs to be there for certain people and that, eh? Oh, is he there? Aye, there he's entered the studio. Right, let's see if we can hear him now. Bobby's in the house.
Third time lucky.
There we
All
are,
good.
third time lucky, Bobby, son. How you doing?
Fine, mate, fine. Thought you left us hanging there.
No, never, Bobby. Never, Bobby. Anyway, Bobby, as I say, some people in the chat giving you big shouts out there. You know what I mean? As I say, I've been watching you for the last couple of days. We know in the past, in the 3D Fight Club and all that, where you were at that time of your life. But now you're in a better place in your life. You want to explain to the viewers what's watching and tell us a wee bit where you're from and how you're brought up and where you are now, Bobby.
I'm from a place called Dundee. I grew up on the council estate. We call them schemes in Dundee.
Yeah.
The parents, they broke up, just the usual stuff. Addiction was like rife in my family, especially with like my parents. My mum's been clean 18 years off alcohol. She's my biggest inspiration. My dad was always sort of in prison. He went through Borstal. He went through the system. So I was left to my own devices, so to speak. I was playing up
Yeah.
at school. I was getting expelled. I was always getting into trouble. I was in care homes, secure units. Things just like everybody else. I was a broken
Yeah.
boy. I had
Yeah.
gratitude and empathy, but I never had any gratitude and empathy for myself. I had
Yeah.
gratitude and empathy for everybody else, but not myself. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where it's crucial. This is me just realising this in the last 10 months that my heart's massive for other people, but when it came to myself, there was nothing there for myself. But yeah, so I grew up in a scheme, Adler. It's not Adler Village. It's one of the best places in Dundee, to be fair, I think. I'm on about the houses and that.
Aye. Aye.
Um,
Aye.
but things were not the best. I mean, my family and that tried as much as possible. I had a great support from my gran, but addiction was rife through the family
Yeah.
dramatically. So I was just playing up. I never had the father figure. So, and my mum was like stuck in the ruts of addiction. But
Yeah.
she's always been my queen. I love my mum. She's my
Yeah.
biggest fan still to this
Well, we've
day.
seen that in the past.
So my mum's my biggest fan. So she always had my back. She got clean for us, but I just could not stop committing crime. I was on
Yeah.
antisocial behaviours. I was banned from my area. I was like always like in the jail. Things just were not going good for us. I was sort of like a product of my environment. No guidance, just causing mayhem. And obviously the future was only going to go one way for me. I had
Yeah.
loads of talents. I was a good football player, but I just could not settle. It was like at off-site schools. I was at loads of different primary schools.
Yeah.
And I found a bit of solidarity in the older boys because they were out
Yeah.
stealing cars and they sort of like took us under their wing. So instead of
Was
going
that,
home everything,
Bobby? Was
sorry,
that because? Was that because you never had the father figure there to guide you
yes,
away from that? So
most
you had to,
definitely,
so you had to step up and be the father figure because, as I say, you were only your mum and stuff like that. So you had to step up.
that's it, mate. That's absolutely true. So I was always a good guy in the communities and that, even though I was like a little tearaway, the people still
Yep.
saw the good side in it because I'm a good guy. Everybody knows that I'm a kind, caring, loving guy. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in taking substances, you become the devil.
Definitely. Yeah.
You're just doing anything to feed that habit. So they took us under their wing.
Yeah.
Things were going a wee bit of chaoticness back home. So I
Mm-hmm.
was pretty happy staying out, doing what I wanted. And obviously, they were a lot older than me. I still speak to some of them to this day. They went down the home secure unit as well, and I followed them. They went to jail, and that's where
Yeah.
I went. And I remember the first time I took, it was actually heroin. It was in the prison system because
What age
my
were you then,
dad,
Bobby?
I was
What age were
16.
you then? 16.
16, yeah.
Right.
I was
Right.
16. I was curious because I had a lot of pain. I
Yeah.
had a lot of unanswered answers that I needed answering. So I thought
Right.
by taking this drug just to see why my dad ended up with the addiction problem. So I was just
Right.
curious.
So that was the pain you were trying to figure out.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Right.
very,
Right.
very messed up. I had love in that, obviously, but I was
Aye.
sort of
Aye.
like a bit messed up. Um, and this happened all the way through my life. So I was in the prison system.
Yeah.
My uncle's doing life and that still in. So I thought it was sort of great because I was like in with my uncle and like he was like my dad was in, my uncles were in. So I found a bit of happiness, like if that makes sense, because I was
Aye, man. Aye. Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
surrounded by these father figures and my mates as well,
Yep.
and my dad. So that happened for years, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Me and my dad are brand new now. I hadn't spoke to my dad for years, and I went
That's
to
good.
court. And we won the sport for he was a kid. And my cellmate got bail for reports. So I came
Yeah.
back to Perth prison. And the guard, he's actually facing Mary's, that's next to my end. He was like, I've got a
Yeah.
surprise for you. I was like, you've got a surprise for me? He was like, come on. I was like, you know the way it is in prison. I was like, raging, you better not have put any divvy in my cell. He was like, come on.
Aye.
You opened the door, and there was my dad. That's where I met my dad.
Yeah.
So
How did you feel at that time?
leading up to it, I was making derogatory comments saying we saw each other. But the minute I set eyes on him, I just had a few tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
And we cuddled.
Well, you were there. And
So that's where I met my dad. I met my dad back in jail when I was 16. We shared the same cell 3 times. And
yeah.
he got his life sorted out, mate, this time I was in. He was doing
Yeah.
great, and he was on a prescription and stuff like that. And he was like, have you been dabbling with that stuff that you felt with me for years? I was like, no, total in denial. Itching like that, first offender, young offender like that. He's done time when he was young. And then I'm like, how are you doing, Dad? He's like, you've got your top and that off. He went, that means you've been on heroin. I was blatantly lying to his face. He was like, that's what we felt. Now you're chasing
they've seen
that.
it,
And he's been embossed on the young offender, so he wasn't too pleased about that.
Exactly.
So that's what happened. And then he had a wee word with us. He was like, son, this is a chaotic life. He went, this will end up killing you. I went, Dad, I'm going to get a grip. I've not been taking any substances. And I got out and I got my first sentence. And I went to Pullman, and it was that was the only time I was really like getting to spend time with my dad, was in jail.
Yeah, in the jail.
And in the jail. And I thought it was great. The normal people viewing this might go, that's crazy. It is crazy. I'm a normal person now telling the story.
Exactly.
I'm a normal person, mate. But so he was like, you need to try and get a grip. My mates are all dead. He went, I've got a grip in this stage of his life. He went, you need to get a grip. You'll just be, he went, you've got some temper. You're going to do something and being here like your uncle. My uncle was across in life or so. So I was like, not ready to change. So I went to Pullman, mate. And that's where my life, to this day, that's where it all changed. Because I went to Pullman and I was just going to the church, to get out myself, because you're locked up 24 hours a day, basically. And I met this guy, his name was Craig. What a man. I tell my missus about this story. Always go on about him. So I was going to the church and he was like, because Darren, most people take a liking to me straight away. Like, even social workers and that in the past, if I was a wee boy, there's something about you. So I was going to church. He was like, yeah, I messed up, wee boy. I was like, I feel like got putting the persona and that on. I was like, I'm fine. And he says to us, I'm going to pray for you. I was like, God's not real. God doesn't exist. And this time, sorry, it was on, Pullman put us on methadone. I turned 17 because I handed once. I was doing 2 years, 9 months. One sample, and they went, oh, your grand just passed away and that. We'll put you on this medication. So I never asked any questions. I was like a young boy. So they took us, gave us that. So we're still going down to the church. And this guy was like what I call Bible bashing. I was like, oh, God, I'm putting up with it because like I've took a liking to you. You're acting like my father and you're a great man. So this kept happening for months and months, and I was like in a single cell because that's the way I used to like do my time in Pullman. So I was this one night I went to the church. He was like, "Me and my wife have been praying for you." So I was like, "Oh, that again." So I left church that night and I was praying like literally. It was broke. It was only 17. I've told this story in my local church and the few churches I've been to. And then I left church and I was just broke. Lost my gran. She was like a mum as well. And I came up the route, and this was at night, and my whole demeanour changed, and I just felt this glow in my body, mate. I get goosebumps now telling you this, and I was like, "Whoa, what's that feeling?" Then I was like, "It must be God." That's obviously what Craig's been doing, him and his wife. So I went back up to the cell, mate, and I remember like this, like it was yesterday. I was locked in my cell, and I went up to the mirror. And I started looking in the mirror and trying to swear, and I could not get the F word out. I was like, what's
Yeah.
happening to me? This glow up my body. And I was like, that's weird. And I couldn't swear. I sat in my bed to about the back of one. And I was like, wow, I'm a new man. What's just happened to me? I was confused in that. So in the morning, I got to sleep in that. And my door went. He used to always come up and see us. He took a good shine test. And he came in. The officers were like, oh, there's Craig. He was like, could you leave us with him? So I just started getting tears in my eyes. He was like, I
Yeah.
know what's happened to you. He went, you've had an experience with God. I was like, still confused. I was like, what? He was like, that's just been praying. I've been asking God, look, he's a brilliant kid. He's just broken because I told him a bit about my life story. Like,
Aye.
no deeper than what I'm sharing now because that's like, but he was like, wow. He was like, so he went, that's worked. He was like, I've took a shine to you. He went, I've got contacts. The fact
Yeah.
that God's like, doing his magic on you. And I was like, God doesn't exist in that up until this point. And
Yeah.
he went, I've got a lot of contacts. He went, have you heard of a place called Glen Shee? I was like, well, maybe, but it's not, I know it's in Scotland somewhere. He was like,
Yeah.
well, I've got a lot of contacts up there. He went, I'm going to put my job on the line for you. He went, and see when you get out, he went, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to take you right up to Glen Shee. And I was like, wow, this guy's like been sent for God. This guy's absolutely amazing. So I kept
It's a lovely
working with him.
place up there.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So he picked us up. He was like, I'll be at the bottom and you take the left beside the shop, but don't walk with other inmates. I was like, this is because usually with the sort of life we've lived, if someone's too good to be true, you start thinking it's not going to happen. Well, that's me. That was me up
Definitely.
until 10 months.
Or why
So
is
I
it
was like,
happening to me?
no, nothing good happens to me. I'm just a boy
Definitely.
with a bad past. So I met him. He actually took us to Dundee to meet my mum first. I went to me to take him up to Glen Shee. And my mum was
Yeah.
like, what man? He went, I mate, I got him like, so he's away for that sort of life. We'll get him up there. We'll take him up, get him up there for a weekend for the Saturday. Took us up, mate. It was absolutely fantastic. They were like, you could be living here with us. Got hid on me, bit in that. It was great, mate.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Dundee on the Monday. No, on the Saturday, sorry. Meant to get
Yeah.
picked back up on the Monday. I met my old associates. They were like, we're away to get a bag of heroin. And I admit, this guy
Yeah.
has just saved me from Pullman. And I was just out after doing 2 years, 9 months. So I still had
So you
my,
just
like,
got out.
I was out about a week or whatever. So he was like, you've got your recall. You don't want to go back there. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a point. So I came back to Dundee. Meant to be getting picked up on the Monday again. I banged into my mates. They were actually on the ASBO. It was only me that had the ASBO with 80 odd
Yeah.
conditions. And the
Mm-hmm.
mates that I banged into, they were on it. And it's obviously me that goes back to jail. They don't. So they were
Aye.
like, we're going to
Aye.
get a bag of heroin. I was like,
Yeah.
well, a one off will be fine. I'll still get picked up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Went away, let the guy down. I was back in Pullman about 2 weeks later. And I remember getting the recall. I was like, oh God, my family and that will probably disown us because this
Aye.
guy's put his job on the line and that. And I
Definitely.
went back to see him, mate, and I've been trying to get in touch with this guy for being me Tory because we were like that. I phoned Pullman
Aye.
and that because to tell him about my story.
Yeah.
And he came into my cell, he was like, Bobby, I was like, Craig, I'm sorry. You let me meet your wife and your newborn child and everything. I feel like I've let you down big time. He was like, don't worry about that. He went, God's still got a lot of working to do on you. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, people like this don't come in your life. And I was still a bit like with God and Jesus and that, like, well, I believe it
Yeah.
more than what I did. So that's when I started. And then obviously I turned the con, got shipped on the 21st birthday for Pullman. It was actually one of the female officers, took another liking test. See, all the officials, mate, took a good liking
Aye.
test.
Aye.
I think that's what often happens with people like us in the system, mate. They could see beyond the guy that's
Oh,
trying
aye.
to put front on.
Oh, aye.
So
The screws, they can spot a good guy now. You know what I mean? And I do it.
definitely.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean?
Uh,
Right.
so uh, I went up to Perth, and I remember, this might sound a bit sad, but this is the reality. A couple of months before my 21st, I was saying to the officers, I need to get shipped out for my birthday, mate, to be a con. And other inmates were saying, bro, just calm yourself. You're sorted here. I was like, but I need for visits and that to be closer for my mum and that.
Aye.
And they were
Aye.
like, you've no chance. And I was like, want a bit? So I kept at them, but in a nice, polite manner. And they took a liking
Yep.
to us. And I was still going through my problems. I was still a lost boy. I was still fighting
Aye.
my addiction, early stages of addiction. I never knew that back then, but I know that
Aye.
now. And
Mhm.
on my 21st birthday, Jean, she's still there. She's an older wifey. She might be retired now, but she was there. She was like, Bobby, go and have a wee scratch. She was like, the passman in that rope, and she went, it's your birthday. I went, oh, thank you so much. She went, I like you, son. Blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So I was out. And then she came, she was like, here, and passed us a couple of bags. I was like, what are they for? She was like, you're going up to your local jail. She was like, oh, darling, I'm going to miss you. She was like, sort of like a grand figure. And I was
Aye.
like, are you joking? So I had like a few tears, but I had to wipe them quick because of the inmates. And she
Aye.
was like, come here.
Rough
She
place.
took us in. She took us in myself. She was like holding my hand. She was like, son, you're an intelligent young man. She went, life's no dealt you the best of hands yet. She went, but
Yeah,
listen,
that's it. Aye. Yep.
just persevere. You've still got your whole life. You're 21 today.
Definitely.
And I went,
Definitely.
thank you so much. She went, I've been putting the graft in for you because I know how big this is. And it's your
Yep.
21st. Well, mate, this might sound a bit mad to the average person, but that was one of the best birthdays I've ever had. Even this tell Victoria. It's definitely getting shipped on my
Oh, aye.
birthday. Definitely just a bond to be the officer that put the graft in.
Yeah.
And the way,
But sometimes the best birthdays and Christmases you day of is in the jail, and it sounds sad,
definitely,
but that is reality. When you're going through addiction, you're you're lost outside, so you just go into the jail. You meet other people, you get close to prison officers, so you grow a bond. You know what I mean?
definitely, mate. So I got shipped and I was up there and just one thing led to another. And it was, no, sorry, I've cut a bit of the story, but it's irrelevant. But I went to Frighton, you maybe heard about the story. I was in Frighton and mixed with the wrong people, and that this story is still, it's no like broadcasting and going, this is just to spread the awareness and to the youth
Aye,
and to
man.
say, look, it's no very attractive, that sort of life, because you could lose your life and you're wasting your
That's the
life.
sort of it. Yeah.
So I was up to Frighton, and I was in a section full of Glasgow boys, twins for your neck of the woods, Falkirk. They were like good guys, and
Aye.
a guy for Pullman came down to Frighton, and I was in this dorm and heard him saying, "Should see the phones they've got in that section." So I was like the sort of guy that, like, I've got ADHD, so if I know something's wrong, I'm going to do it. So I remember
Aye.
going back. There's only a few Dundee people in the thingy, but were smoking cannabis and the usual, the
Yep.
semi-open jail. So I went in the section, done it all night, and stole their phones. And mate, honestly, this story is still big. You'll probably, if you ask the youth in my age about it in your area,
I think I know what you're
mate,
talking about.
it was the worst thing I'd done in my life, mate. It was the worst thing I'd
Aye.
done. Mate, the
Yeah,
story
I know what
still
you're
gets
talking about.
spoken about. Mate, I was like, to my boys, it was only like a couple of Dundonians and Fifers, so I went in the daft
Yeah.
cunt, I was in their bed, getting up for work. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because, like, I got hits and everything put on my life, and then
Aye.
got downgraded to, and the reason I done it, to be fair, because I thought I could maybe swap this for some gear.
Powder.
So
Aye.
I put it in my head and shoulders bottle, got a razor blade cut around the neck, got wood glue for
Yep.
Frighton, put it in
Yep.
there, took it to Perth, and the minute I landed, I was like, I need my stuff. They were like, you'll get your stuff later on. And there was a guy in the hall, won't say his name, he's passed away. All I was worried about, my life was on the line here. I knew I still had to go
Aye.
back to home, and they had healthy contacts, but I was just worrying about that stuff. And I remember going into, these two well-known people for Dundee. One of them's passed.
Yep.
And he was like, you've got phones, have you? I was like, well, I had to get rid of the rest of the phones. They wouldn't take any of the Dundee boys and the Fifers. I went, but I've
Yep.
got one in my head and shoulder bottle. He was like, well, go and get it across and I'll give you a non-set heroin. and that was in the jail,
Aye.
mate, and Esther had got a Pullman. So I was like,
Yep.
yes. He was like, here's a wee bitch of snow. So I remember going up and saying, I need my, like, as what are as addicts, mate. I was like, I need my stuff. He's like, what for? I went, for my canteen, my shower gels. He's like, but you've got
Yep.
boys in your family. He was like, what do you need it for? And I still had a bit of heroin in my pocket for the guy. And the hall was what you call parking. So I just landed at a good time. So I was just worried.
Definitely.
I was obsessed, mate, about this bit of stuff. So he was like, here you go. And I was still going, boss, I need my stuff. He's like, you're fucking heavy under intel for these phones up fryer, and son, you're going, you've got money on your head on my Pullman. And I was like, oh shit. So I wasn't really asking for it. I just wanted a fix, mate. No, the fix that he gave us, but my own stuff to tack down a Pullman. And that was pretty daunting, mate. So I didn't get the phone, by the way. I got my phone, but they didn't bring my stuff over to the reception. So I was like, shit. So what now? Because I was a bit daft. I got a few, but no like the way I would have if like I got the phone. So I went while I did the phone, and I was like, shit, that fucking Hall's parking. I was way to get myself an answer for my phone.
Yeah.
So and it was a lonely journey, mate. I was like,
it can be.
They were like, bro, you need to put your hands up to this. I was like, shut up, eh? They were being serious, mate. I was like, oh shit. So I got this is through addiction as well. This is how I took the phones, thinking like I'll get them graded deliberately and all that. This journey was so lonely. Exactly. And then, mate, see, when I got to Pullman, it was like someone off a film. I've told Victoria, I'm not going to act hard about what people like. I tell the truth. I was shitting myself. And I remember the screw for Pullman coming out to the bus. He was like, your name's getting shouted for every flat in here. I was like, no danger. I got off the bus, mate, and it just said, he's landed. I was like, read your accent. I was like, oh shit. Went in the dub boxes, and as you're aware, there's some lifers and blah blah blah, like built like that. They were coming in. They were coming in. They were coming in, mate. They were like, you're getting done. I was like, Emma. I was like, fuck's sake, I'm fucked here. And mate, I remember this is how naive I was. So when they came and got up the dog boxes, he was like, Bobby, are you sure you're not wanting to take protection? I went, you mad? I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I went, listen, I've not done nothing. I'll just take what's the way to come to us. He was like, we can't afford signing anything. So, mate, I was walking up the route, and all you heard was, he's that Bobby's here, do him, and there's this and that for you. I was like, shit. So I stopped doing my stuff, and the only thing I was concerned about was the phone. So I was like, shit, they've took the phone in my head and shoulders. So I stopped again. He went, go through the metal detector. Because it never went off, I went, they've took the bottle, obviously, but nobody knew. They must have put them white. I opened it, and I saw the wee cut at the top, and I went, business. Still, mate, my name getting shouted everywhere. And that was pretty daunting, mate. That was pretty scary.
It can be, Pullman.
So that was that story, but that was very, very stupid. And still, that's the things that I remember. So fast forward, they'll tell you. So that's a bit about my past. So I was flying on the Bividil injection. Absolutely doing amazing. I went to do Spears down in Middlesbrough and Teesside. And I got too ahead of myself, mate. I never had the tools in my toolbox. I thought, oh, that's me sorted. It wasn't, mate. I started sneaking out my mum's because my mum's like done us proud, like we somewhere to stay, wash food. So I was going, Mum, I'll be back in 20 minutes. She's like trusting us by this time. So I went to this guy's that I will not say, obviously, around the corner where I met my missus. Shut the door, and I heard them go, don't answer the door, don't let him in. I was like, the usual, that's what I used to get people's doors. So I was like, who's that? She opens the door, she's like, did you try and blah, blah, blah to a guy? I was like, no. But the way she says it to us, I was like, what? So I went in, and we started taking a substance. And it was a shit show. And I remember I went to score drugs, and I got my soulmate. And I took her in the kitchen, and I was like, are you single? Because I just knew me. She knew as well. She was like, yeah. I was like, they're telling me through there that you're seeing him through there. She's like, no, I'm not. So I was like, well, are we getting going then? Straight away, mate. I was bald. I was like, are we going up the road? She's like,
so is that the last of your new, Bobby?
That's my son's mum, mate. That's my fiance. So we were
That's
still
for sure.
stuck in the ruts of addiction. He was clean.
Aye,
She was doing
that
a
was
lot better.
aye. You were still cutting about YouTube at the time, when you started going with the lassie.
Yeah. We
Aye,
were
then you
stuck
kind
in
of
the
went
ruts of
off,
addiction.
and now
Uh,
I've seen you a couple of days ago, and you're looking well. You're looking very well, Bobby. That's why I've reached out to you. Because I've been looking for you, and I've always wondered, what's Sam to him, man? Where is he? You know what I mean? And then I clocked you the other day there on TikTok. And then I clocked like your partner and your baby and that, eh? So
yeah.
that's what I was wanting to kind of talk about. So where are you now with your life? Apart from like 3D Fight Club and all that crap in the past, you know what I mean? That's your past, you know what I mean? So how long have you been sober now?
Well, so I met the story I was just telling there. We were still in the
Right.
same area. It was chaotic, mate. That crack cocaine just broke out rife. We were heroin addicts and Valium takers and on prescriptions. We went down that
Yeah.
route. We were like, enough's enough. We need to move. We moved, started working with organisations, moved here, and we've been clean of prescriptions, weed, street Valium, crack cocaine. Well, we're actually 2.5 year off class A's. 10 month on the 8th of this 8th of December, we've been clean off street Valium and weed, so and
That's good.
prescription. We did it all.
That's good.
Uh,
That's good.
and my life was chaotic, mate. So was hers.
Aye.
Our life was absolutely hell. But we've
Well,
came through it.
your videos in the past, I see you like your partner, she was going through a bad time. You know what I mean? You're always kind of ducking and diving. You know what I'm talking about? You're always fighting with folk. But as I say, to see you now, you're more fresher looking, more healthier looking, and your partner too. You know what I mean? So, where's your plans now and what you plan to do with your future?
Well, my plans now are seeing the new year. This is a crazy story. For what I've lived, me and my missus, she's away to do a nursing course and stuff after my son's
good.
born in January. And
Yeah.
me to start going down the positive step route. And I know it's a bit high to aim for, but I'm working with officials at the minute because Victoria is pregnant, social work. And the reason why I'm so confident in sharing this is because Dundee's a wee place. And if you've got a past like me taking drugs in jail, they're coming in everybody's lives. So I'm working hard with them. And I'll be working with positive steps in the new year. We've already had meetings and stuff. They're very happy to take me on to do this job, to help other people in the ruts of addiction. That's my job. And I says to my social worker last week, could I be a social worker? Because I remember mine and the people at off-site school, she was like, it's very difficult. She was like, but because you've got the sort of positivity you've got and stuff like that, it's not, you like a challenge, you say it's not impossible. So we'll be having our son in January, drug-free, we are off everything. Came off my vape
Congratulations,
as well,
Bob, Congratulations
never
on
thought I'd
that.
see the day.
No, nearly that. To be honest with you, nearly that. As I say there, for the last couple of years there, your life was chaotic. You were all over the place, and you mean you were sadly, your brother passed away and stuff like that. So you had a lot to deal with. You know what I mean? When you were on the 3D Fight Club, you know what I'm talking about. You're making
You're a
a lot of
shell
silly
yourself.
decisions. You know what I
See
mean?
if you've been clean as well. See if you've been clean. See my brother that passed away.
Yeah,
I get to I take my nieces and see my nephews and that on a regular, mate. Things are happening
that's
in my life
great.
today that weren't happening when I was an active user. And the fact
Yeah,
that the officials are like, your son's coming home to you, use your apps. They're
aye,
even saying they're our biggest cheerleaders, mate. So for social work to be like, Bobby, Victoria, wow, this story is mad. This is like a one-off. A couple meeting in the ruts of
definitely,
addiction, everything at the same time.
definitely, Bobby, definitely. As I say,
So,
there's people out there like myself. I've been away for it for 2009, and it just took me to meet the right person and guide me down that path. You know what I'm talking about? And I think
that's it, mate.
you meeting, when I think you meeting Victoria at the time you did, that done the world a good. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? Because you were getting, as I say, you were getting fresher. You were working towards it. You were positive together. You know what I mean? You just kind of connected. You know what I'm talking about? And now look at you. You know what I'm
Definitely.
talking about? No
I
many
was
people
saying
would have
that.
expected that. You know what I mean?
No.
And it's
I
good
was
to see,
saying,
Bobby.
thanks, mate. I was saying to Victoria, do you know it's mad how when you're in the active ruts of addiction for, well, plus our 2 times in active addiction comes to 30 year, and we're 42 and 35. 30 year between the two of us. It
It's a
took to
long time.
meet each other. We met each other, and look what we've got: our own family home. We've got our kid coming up to the hospital. We've got a dog. Our whole
And there
life's
you are.
changed dramatically.
You've got what everybody wants. You know what I mean? The dog, the family, the healthy lifestyle. You know what I'm talking about? As I say,
Definitely.
I was an active addict, as you know, for about 6, 7, maybe 10 years. You know what I mean? And I was taking all sorts myself, never out of prison, in and out of prison all the time. You know what I mean? As I say, it took me 2009, 2010. And as I say, it's just the way you want to choose your life and the way you want to go. You know what I'm doing? You'll do it. You know what I mean? And with the looks at it, and the videos I've seen and what I've looked at and spoke to you, you're more concentrative and focused in what you want in life. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. It is, Bobby. It's a good thing to see because you didn't see many people didn't walk away from the lives that we have. You know what I mean? Like all the drugs and the amount of drugs you take, and what you'll do for drugs. You know what I mean? No many people will walk away from that lifestyle, but to see like yourself and your partner and others to do that, it's an inspiration, man. You should be proud of yourself and never didn't put yourself down, mate. You know what I mean? Because you've been through a lot in life. You know what I mean? Losing your brother, meeting your father, stuff like that. You know, that's got to have been hard, mate. You know what I mean? It's got to have been hard. And
Definitely. But as you're aware, mate, congratulations on your clean time, because that's massive. That's massive, mate. And the best people to help the still suffering addicts are people like me and you, because we can't relate to normal people in the DDARs and the drug problem services. They've never been through our pain. We could share this pain and help other people. We trust each other because we've been in the ruts of addiction.
Well, that's it. We know what we're doing. We know what we're thinking because we've done the same things. You know what I mean? To get you know do it, and
Definitely,
it's just the way. Like people always say about addicts and criminals and that, but when you think about it, an addict and a criminal, if you want to try and talk to an addict, you need to experience it being an addict to give them that guidance and tell them. Because all these paperback recovery workers, they're only reading half the books. They've never went through any trauma or experience with the drugs. You know what I mean? And that's where it's lacking. You know what I mean? That is where it's lacking in Scotland. And as I say, like people like yourself at Victoria and stuff like that, well, they're the people who should be going out there and talking to people. You know what I mean? And praising them and showing them, listen, man, you can achieve everything. You know what I mean? And you can, and you're doing it. You maybe don't think you're doing it, but when I look at you, I see progress. I see a happy guy and a guy that's just wanting to go home his life now. I always stay away from the drama. You know what I mean? And I see, Bobby, you're doing it, man, and you've got to take your half to yourself and give yourself a pat on the back for that. Because it's only you that done it, mate. You know what I mean?
That's it, mate. See, the only thing waiting for us in active addiction's a coffin, mate. That's it. And maybe thoughts, a few of our family members sitting on that aisle. That's it, mate. We are not meant to walk away from taking them kind of substances. I and you've probably lost thousands of mates because they certainly haven't done that. It's like a couple of weeks.
Oh, definitely, Bobby. As I say, I'll tell you one thing now, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, right? If I started taking the classes and all that, way back in 2000, I could probably count on maybe five folk that are still alive. You know what I mean? And I went a lot of folk. You know what I'm talking about? And as I say, there's just one passed away the other day there, and that's with the Street Valium and the pre-Garland, And it's like talking to a brick wall. You've got to go hard and be cruel and be kind, be an addict. You know what I mean? Some will take your advice, some will listen to you, some will just brush you off because that's their life. You know what I mean? But
that's it, Darren. You know, and I know, mate. We could have the best help in the world, but until that wee switch goes off, you're never going to change.
Definitely, Bobby, and 100%. But as I say, it's just been great talking to you tonight. The issue with the tentacle, cynical, and that, but we got it. We've spoke. You know what I mean? And we'll get you back on.
Dan, I'll come back on, mate.
And we'll speak a wee bit more, and we'll talk more on the TikTok, and we'll probably meet up and get a wee chat. You know what I mean? Then we'll get a wee bit more in depth. You know what I'm talking about? And we'll see where it goes then, Bobby. And
I've got your number, mate. I'll give you a message tomorrow, right, on your phone number.
Definitely, pal. And tell Victoria I said hi, and I'll be glad to speak to her. Eh? Stay
Send my
safe and stay
blessings to you and your
blessed.
family. Okay, God bless you and your family, mate.
Anybody. Right, guys, as I say, that was Bobby K on the live there. Fantastic, fantastic live. As I told you, I couldn't believe myself when I seen Bobby on TikTok. Guy's looking amazing. His family's there. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable. Recovery, you can do it. You put your mind to it and you'll do it. You know what I mean? People slander people in addiction and stuff like that. Don't do that. Because at the end of the day, it's no nice. You know what I mean? All people have got all kind of addictions. It's whether you choose to recover from it and choose the future, which Bobby and Victoria has, and now they've got kids and they're living the life that many dream of. You know what I mean? So as I say, guys, stay safe and stay blessed. And this is a new t-shirt. Carson TV, be darn, YouTube, and it's got hashtag good, loves up, drugs down the back. So as I say, guys, thanks for joining me tonight, and I'll speak to you very soon, eh? Loves up. And a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Shuggy boy and the rest, eh? Good night, guys.